So we're now on page Reish Lamed Aleph. Let me right here. See if this will work better. Okay, so we're on page Reish Lamed Aleph, and it says Vay Kach Lo Nachir Yud Bavov. Woe is the time when the Yud is not shining into the Vav Daled. Excuse me. Azai. Or Oi Lo Tachtoinim. Woe for the recipients down below. Kasha Abba Rabbeinu Shu Sod Os Yud Shal Shem Havaya. Enu Meir Mashpia Be'iber Lo Shehi Sod Milui Vav Daled Shal Os Yud. V'Yosech V'Gurura Bezeh. Some worse is that. Kad Yistalek Yud Min Vav Daled, when the Yud leaves the Vav Daled, Kasha'abach Kuloch Gashuhu Os Yud Nistalek L'Gamra His Yached Im Imari Law, so they no longer are together. Shechoye Milui Vav Daled, and once again he wants to say that the Ima represents the Milui of the Yud itself at that point. B'chove Alma, and why does it happen? It happens because of the sins of the world. From the children of this generation, which I guess around us now. Then this causes nakedness everywhere. In other words, the sexuality is revealed. We have to understand what that means exactly. In all of the partsufim of Atzilus. Vayinyan who, so the Indians like this, ki be'ez yichud abba ve'imich eloha mechoyim bekusim hayisodis va'atam. So he says that during their yichud, their yisodis were hidden. Ve'imich eloha choyim bekusim hayisodis. Not the kabishostalik abba eloha, but now when Abba removes himself, so to speak, from a relationship with Ima, Misyached B'Liyached in Iber Elo Azachem Mizgalam V'Yisod Shal Abba V'Iber Elohim. Since they're not hidden within each other and they're not together anymore, now they're exposed. Behind the Bebechinas Gilui Arayos. That's what it means when it says revealing nakedness. What nakedness is it? It's the nakedness of the source of the flow of bracha. So when their yichud stops, Az gam ein yichud the mata v'partzufim b'tachtonim shem Yisrael sabat tevuna v'zer v'nok, so that the lower two partzufim below them are also starved, and there's no yichud there. V'nimsa sheyesh b'chinas gilui arayas b'kol partzufi atzilus, and this causes the revelation of this nakedness in all of the partzufim of atzilus. V'hi b'misha gorim b'ravanoisa, a person who's been so bad that he has caused Bechinas Gilu Urias, this separation which reveals their Yisod B'Partzufi Abba V'iber Elohim Al Dochasim. On this it's written, Ervis Avicho Lo Segalo, that the nakedness of your father you should not reveal. Ki Abba, here we're talking about this. Ki Abba V'iba Elohim Nikroim B'Klalos B'Shem Abba. We understand that if you look at it just as Yud Ke Vav Ke, then the two of them together will be Abba. This is the concept of revealing the Yisodos of Abba Ve'ima, is the concept of revealing the father's nakedness. V'kav Istalik, and when the Yud, Min, Hey, back to this again, and now we're writing the Hey in a different way. We're writing Yud Vav Dawud, and then we're saying separating it from the Hey Aleph. V'gorim b'avanosech sheyastalik yisachol b'sava melechis yached im tevuna, and this is causing the next level down, which is called Yud Vav Daled and K Aleph, where the names have been expanded. Hey, so this is a different. Okay, so where do we see in the Hey that's a relationship with Yisrael Saba? In this case, the Hey, he means to say that it refers to Tavuna. So he said that there's a little corner. Okutz os Hey harishona shel shem havaya shuhu sod Yisrael Saba. So there's a little tip on that Hey. I think on the right side, mina os hey atmo shuhu so tavuna, so that there's a little tip there. Al dog sivin, so that also causes that separation too. In regards to this, it writes, because in relationship, I guess, to the whole of Yud K Vav K, the second K would refer to Yisrael Saba Tavuna. Ki Yisrael Saba Tavuna Nikrayim Beklalos Ima. So generally speaking, as just in the Yud K Vav K, they're Ima. V'chagorim Gilu Yisodetzeichem, and when their Yisodis are revealed, this is the concept of revealing the nakedness of your mother. So let's understand that we shouldn't think that it's referring to Malchus. She's also a mother, because she's our mother. So then it wants to come and tell you that she's your mother. Shel Zer Anpin, the mother of Zer Anpin. Shahoyivada Yisrael Saba Tavuna, which who is the mother, it means that category which is called Yisrael Saba Tavuna, which is the second Hey, which he spells Hey Aleph. So he says Yisava Tavuna, but maybe Riley Yisrael Saba, but Tavuna Nikroim Ima. So how do we know that Yisrael Saba and Tavuna are sometimes called by the name Ima? He says, Shana like it says like this, Ki im levina tikra l'tavuna titen kolecho. So that pasuk. V'hinech v'mashen emer kan bina haina Yisrael Saba. So when we speak about bina, here we're talking about Yisrael Saba, mashen emer tavuna haina tavuna mamish. So it's Yisrael Saba and tavuna in this pasuk. Val shenechem amar ki im, if. So we want to say it's referring to the mother. Okay, so that's the second chapter according to the Rav. And now we're going to bop over here and we're going to pick up the Gon. Let me just see how I mess this up. Let me get the page here on the Gon. Gon. Here we go. Gon. Okay, now, so we're going to start the Gon now. And it's just like we're on page now, Reish Mem Gimel. Let me get this lined up, okay? Okay. So it says like this, and so we'll just read along. And I noticed I went through this a little bit, and I see it's introductory to a lot of extent. He says, Tana Lamadno, so we learned that in Sifra D'Tzniuta, Ki Zeh HaSefer Hu HaChochma D'Chaina Abba. The Sefer, he says, is an Abba Sefer. Which is the beginning of where that which is hidden starts to be revealed. Now, so all of these words, he's stringing them together, which we can handle this. It says the gilui, the revolution of the head, of the unknowable head, which is called Ein Sof, hamislavish b'chatzilus, which is clothed inside of Atzilus. By Inyan, who the Inyan is like this: Ki atik yamim hu anikra b'shem reishalo delo isyada. Okay, so let's say take atik yamim and let's call it by the name of the unknowable head. The visha ein b'shum yediyah v'chasaga, because it's completely buried inside of its filus. V'af nikra b'shem ein sof, and so since it's unfindable, then it also could be called by this name Ein Sof. So and that's because you can't find it. It's so completely hidden. But not only that, but it's called by the name Tzniusa, hidden away, because of that. Because it's so hidden. Where does this Gilui start? But in other words, how do we know there's something back there behind the curtain, so to speak? This happens at Chochmah, because that's the beginning of showing that there's something behind it. Shall Reisha de lo Isya, there's a Gilui, Shall Reisha de lo Isya, a Nikra Ein Sof is called Ein Sof, Ki Ayadeh his Slavshus Reisha de lo Isya, the Bechochmah and the Etzel called the Chatzilus, because of the loving, the lodging of the Reisha de lo Isya, the inside of Chochmah, you start to have now this revelation. V'nivra ha'olam b'sher ha'bochum izgalach ha'ein sof, and now the world is created, in which there will be a revelation of the Ein Sof. V'ha'chochma nechba b'shem sefer. Now, another word for chochma, he says, is the word sefer. Ki kol inyan sefer, the whole idea of this, who gilui shall inyan sasam. The idea of sefer is to say over something, just like you would say, I would say to you, or you would say to me. We didn't know it was once it comes out. Because the thought was originally closed up. So when these things are written in the sefer, but then the machshava that's called closed up becomes revealed. Moving on, he said, that's what we want to say. This is the first time that you have a revelation that there's something behind the curtain, is that chochma. The extension of the revelation of those hidden things, the Tzniuta, its hiddenness, who b'shar partzufi atzilus, that is manifest in the rest of the partzufim, shehem bina, zer anpin, and nukva. B'zechav she'amas Sifra D'Tzniuta b'maskala. So this is what it means when it says that it's the Sifra. So he says that refers to Abba. The Shankel b'maskala, that is balanced on a balance scale. Sefer hu habina. So he says he's wanting to say the word sefer refers to habina she'noistin amocha v'chasadim v'gevuras dedas dezer anpin. Now, didn't he just say that sefer meant chachma? Didn't he say that? So here he says it. He says it means bina. Habina. This is the bina she'noistin amochim v'chasadim v'gevuras dedas dezer anpin, who's giving all of these mocha dezer anpin. V'zer anpin shoikel hachasadim, and what he does is that he balances the chasadim v'gevuras yachat together. V'basmam, and he umavavsmam, and he makes them sweet. He perfumes them. Zera b'zera b'mishkol hanuk, for one with the other, and let me read this again. He says mochim of chasadim gevuras the das zer anpin. V'zer anpin shoikel chasadim v'gevuras yachad. V'masban zecha b'zeh b'mishkal shehi hanukva. So he said, because I stopped because it says in the balancer. The balance, he says, is the nukva. Ki zer anpin mashbicha gevuras the nukva, because he takes all his gevuras and he puts it with her. And then after that, though, he adds his own chasadim into her at the time of yichud. And this causes the gevuras to become sweetened. I will call it, here he used the word fragrant. Now let me go over the words again. He says, "V'az ha'gevuras mizbasmim, no problem. Ayidecha chasadim, no problem. Shuhu tachlis hatikun, which is the ultimate idea. The tikun is that the two should come together. Hanikra mishkal, and that's the balance. Behind those who the inyan, so the inyan is like this. Ki yesh shnei mini sefarim. There are two sefarim. There's two different types of books. Harishon ku kushakosiv machshava b'sefer. The first one, when you write it down in a book. And then that causes a person's thinking to be revealed in reality. In other words, I come out into the physical world here. But nonetheless, if you don't have the sefer, if you don't look into it, it's still hidden. That's when you actually start reading the sefer. So he said, then all of the words of the sefer are revealed to everyone. And we had the same thing over here. So Chochma is the beginning, but it's in a situation where it's like a closed book. Who's sefer but it's still a sealed book. In other words, you look at the book, that you know there's something there. He said, but not actually, it's the whole reality of it. It just shows that it's there. And therefore, this is the first sefer. He wants to point at this being the crucial area here. He says the Tikra Sifra D'Tzniuta Ka'amor B'Rababina Begala Ha'inyin Yosef Bina thou comes along and reveals this more. Because it is Ima that is recharge of pouring out the shefa into Zer Anpen and his nook. And so this reveals the tikkun. How? Through the sweetening of the gevuras, which is the concept of the balancing, I guess, of weights. So this second part, whereas it actually goes out and puts this sifra into the balance scale, that winds up getting measured according to balance. So Tana, so we learn like this: the Mada bebraisa shenimsro landa b'kabbalah. So we have a brisa, the adalo havama b'maskala, before this balance situation began. He ba'olam matohu. So let's go back to olam matohu. As a matter of fact, I skipped that at the top. This is what we're talking about now. Olam matohu. He said, ba'olam matohu kodem tikun shorish hamaskala be'erik anpin, before the maskala was really put together in erik anpin. Shehu haschalas tikun amaskala b'mokun shachal b'mokus dima. So let me go over the words. He says the root of the maskala. Where is it? It's the haschalas tikun the maskala begins in the mochin of the mochin of the mokus dima, the erik anpin, besod dakar v'nok, because in there you have the concept of male and female. Shehem are opposites. Shehem trin itrim chasadim megavuras. So these are two crowns. Another, I guess he means sources. I'm never really 100% sure what crown designates here. But gevuras amis mazkim yachad ayedach bedas, which are mixed together through das. And this is referenced by three havayas which are contained in the mochas dima. Okay, we'll come back. We'll come back to this on the way back. Okay, call to it. Tomorrow? Why? What's today? Something happening today? Tomorrow. You said tomorrow.